Rolene, if you can hear me, yes. So I'd like to find out, I mean, from what you've noticed so far, would you say that the administration of Ali Khamenei is largely dictatorial and religiously cowering?
In nearly 5 decades of totalitarian rule in Iran, Iran is a country under its Islamic Republic regime run by the Ayatollah al-Khamenei that has persecuted women, that is the world's biggest sponsor of terrorism around the world, including sponsoring the terrorists that attacked Israel on the 7th of October, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, along with Hezbollah. Iran has hanged a member of the LGBTQ community from cranes and has clamped down on its civilian population for now nearly 50 years. It is absolutely a despotic regime, and contrary to what many of the mainstream media outlets in the West are telling you, this is not protests for economic reform. This is the people of Iran taking to the streets in cities across the country. This is a country some 90 million people big, and saying enough with Khamenei, enough with the dictators. We want the Shah back. One of the common chants that you hear are Javid Shah, long live the Shah. They want Pahlavi back, and they want to live in a secular democracy. Now, you've asked if the regime is collapsing. We have had reports during the course of the day that some of the mullahs have fled, most likely to Russia, and everybody is watching to see what al-Khamenei will do next. Okay,
we'll still talk more about the collapse, but I'd like to find out, Rolene, it's been speculated that this unrest is mostly fueled by foreign powers, most notably the West, to destabilize the state rather than the narration of an incompetent regime. How true is this speculation?
Well, of course, it is typical of the IRGC and Khamenei to portion blame to the West. This is a country that has a vested interest in interfering with Western politics, in blaming the West, and the language that we've heard, certainly in the streets of capitals around the world, where they have been supportive of the proxies of the Iranian regime, proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah, are chants like death to America, death to Israel, death to the United Kingdom. So it is absolutely predictable that Khamenei won't take a look at what the demands of the people of his country are saying, but rather predictably blame the West for the protesters who are taken to the streets. And several moments ago, we had numbers in, thanks to Elon Musk putting Starlink over Iran, because the internet has been shut down by the regime for over 48 hours. And reports coming in via Starlink is that the IRGC have mowed down over 200 people. These are 200 innocent protesters. They are not armed. And in the clip just before you and I spoke, we saw President Trump of the United States, who has threatened the Republic of Iran if they continue to harm protesters.
Okay, so we go back to the collapse talk. You said a couple of the officials started fleeing, but then do you see the country's supreme leader himself, that's Ayatollah, also absconding from Iran due to mounting pressure?
Well, there have been a lot of speculation that he is likely to flee, possibly to Moscow. This is something that the American media broadcast the other day. It is certainly something that is believed in the mainstream media, that Khamenei will, as these protests grow and as the regime starts to crumble, that we will likely see him flee. This is somebody who does not want to face justice. Pahlavi has said that when he returns, should Iran go back to a secular democracy, he would set up something like a Nuremberg trial situation, which would put the mullahs, which would put the members of the Iranian government, which would put the Ayatollah himself on trial for gross human rights abuses and crimes against humanity. So it is likely that he will attempt to flee, if he hasn't already.
That's quite interesting. So now we're looking at a country that has cut internet facility, phone lines are down, payment systems are not working, and we're looking at a gradual collapse of an Iranian state. But then, how would that affect the Middle East? Because we know that Iran has influence over other, countries like Syria and the likes.
I think if the Iranian regime had to collapse, which looks highly likely, and just to go back to your very important point that there are no phone lines, there is no internet, this is the regime shutting down all access to the outside world so that their crimes against the protesters are covered up. But thanks to Starlink, we are getting news that is leaking out, and some of the scenes are absolutely horrific. The injuries, the people that have been shot, the hospitals overrun with people who are injured as a result of IRGC forces mowing them down. But I will tell you right now, the Middle East will celebrate if the Iranian regime collapses. This is a regime that poses a threat not just to my country, Israel, who it has fought for decades through its proxies, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in the north, and many other proxies, but has threatened other countries like the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, the people of Syria who have lived under the boot of these terrorist organizations, the people of Lebanon, who have lived under the threat of Hezbollah, and also for Palestinians in Gaza, they would see the Hamas also, who are a totalitarian regime, who also persecute Palestinians. They would see that collapse.
Wow. And
maybe for the people of the Middle East, without the Iranian regime, would face a much brighter and much more peaceful future.
Okay, thank you so much, Rolene Marks, for sharing these details with us on the news.